Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another one of our 12-3 Marketing ACT virtual user groups. Today is Tuesday, December 12th, and today's topic is going to be on writing letters and email messages from templates using the ACT Mail Merge Wizard with Word and Outlook. Before we get started, one thing to make sure when you are going to be setting up these templates is that you have your preferences configured correctly. These are the default settings, but you might want to verify them before we get started. Check under Tools and Preferences. And then on the Communication tab, this is showing which word processor you will be using to make changes to any templates and documents that we'll be using today. Word is the default, and it is recommended. ACT does have its own built-in word processor that can be used to edit the templates, but Microsoft Word is far superior. So make sure that that's set to Microsoft Word and apply that if it's not already. So what is a mail merge template? You'll find them here under the Write tab, W-R-I-T-E, along the top toolbar. If I go to write a template to a contact, let me pick somebody else. It's not my own contact record here out of the demo database. If I want to write a document from template, then I can say write other document from template. And sure enough, a folder appears. This is the database files folder on the server. It automatically looks this up for you, but it will find your master database location within the templates folder. It's kind of handy just to make sure that you're aware of where that is. And it will show you a collection of .adt files. Sometimes Windows, like my computer right now, is recognizing them as audio files. It's not true. An ADT file actually stands for an ACT document template. And these are your template files that have been predefined. So these are all some kind of sample and default ones that are included by ACT that can be interesting to look through, where they're good starting points for you to edit and make your own. If I wanted to write and send a template to Charles Foster Kane here, then I can do that. Write an other document from template. Here's a collection of all of my templates that me or anybody else at my company has made for this database. And if I simply choose one of these, ACT will merge in and pull in information from Charles's contact record and generate me a document pulling in that information for me. It's already got his name and some other information that was kind of predefined there, filled in. Great for sending to a Word document. And similarly, I can use that same file. So instead of saying write a document from template, I can do it into an email message instead. If I don't want the output to be Word, I can send it to Outlook. So I'll just choose that template again. Merges the records. Wait a second, and then we have an email. It strips out some of the formatting and images because of what's supported in Outlook, but again, it's mail merging in the contact fields and the predefined template text that we wanted. So the big question is, how can you modify these templates yourself and make any changes that you want? I sometimes recommend, you have a few ways of doing this. You can go to the Write menu, and instead of building your template from the email message or a document, you can create a new one from scratch as a new document, or you can edit one of the existing ones. I usually kind of go with editing an existing one. You can go either way that you want. Let's just start with a new document from scratch here. So we'll say write new document. Microsoft Word appears, blank page. Not much more to it than that. But what we want to see here are now we can free type to make our document. So we can say dear, and already we run into the first mail merge field. We normally want to put in a contact salutation here as we begin our letter. And so to do that, we want to insert the field from ACT. Your Microsoft Word does have an add-ins tab here. Perhaps you haven't explored this in the past if you're not, if you weren't aware of this feature, but you can go to the add-ins tab and there is an ACT dropdown. Go to ACT, show field list. Great, yeah, common ACT error. Tell me my current document is not an ACT template. Fun. this is probably why I start with editing a template more often. What just happened to me there as a side note, and maybe I'll edit this from the video later or not. If I go under the new document from scratch, it just brought up a regular Word doc. If I took the time to save that as an ADT, then that field list would have worked. I'm going to try to sidestep that issue by instead, I'm going to go to Edit Template. I'm going to pick any one of their existing ones. If you've already got templates that you've designed for yourself in the past, then definitely editing those will be a way to save time in the future. But I'll edit one of their existing ones. Sure enough, here it is. I prefer this layout better. And now I've got to pretty much pull everything out of there. So let's get rid of their logo, and I will insert my own. And if we go to, I don't know, here's an ACT certified consultant logo. That's nice. Maybe I want to change up some of this stuff to my company's information. And in the sake of time's interest, we will just be very quick about that. So as we edit the raw template file here, by going to the right and edit template and editing a pre-existing one, we can see what some of these mail merge fields look like on the document. They're kind of surrounded by brackets here, and they've got the field name. If these are not the fields that you want within the template, then I can just highlight them and delete them. But if you want to add new ones, like this says Dear Salutation there, I have the perfect solution for, well, let's say I want to put the person's company in there. Simply typing out the word company and putting it into these greater than and less than symbols is not enough. What you need to do is add in the field from the field list itself, going to the add-ins, ACT, show field list. If you ever accidentally close out of this window, sometimes it appears for you when you start up the ACT document template editor. That's how you retrieve it back. A panel appears that says add mail merge fields, and it has all of the fields in the database. So if I say contact record, this will pull in any of these field informations from the contacts record. So if I double click on company there, it automatically adds that in, and I can press period. And you'll see that now if I click on the word company, the entire thing is highlighted because it's kind of its own specially coded element there. We can do any fields from the ACT database. You know, our records indicate your city is, and then city. And it'll put the name, their city name in there. And even custom fields, anything you've put into ACT will appear in this field list. And so then the rest of this is all just about typing up the template that you want. You do have an option before you send these out to make modifications yourself. But that's only if you're sending to, I believe, 5 or fewer contacts by email. So if you're going to do this as an email template, like maybe some type of new sales lead introductory template, and you want to just kind of put in a placeholder for you to maybe make some things that would be a little unique every time that you send it out, you can do that. But just be mindful that if you're ever sending a template to more than 5 contacts at once, Outlook will just send them all away without giving you the chance to add to each one. So bear that in mind. That is how you can put in information from the contacts fields here, like the contacts company name and the contact city. But if you want to put in information from your own record here, under this add mail merge fields drop down under contact, there is a my record. And again, there's the exact same fields in the database because your contact record has all the same fields as any other contact record does. But this does just tell ACT. So if I put in my city, then when I do this mail merge, it'll put the recipient's city in there, and then my ACT user, what I have filled out on my record is my city here. This is really useful if you're ever designing a template that could be used by several different people in your organization, and somebody else might want to share and use this one. Putting in the my business city or the my fields in there can make it so that everybody can use this template and their own information will go in there. If this template's going to be just for your use and your use alone and no one will ever touch it, you know, you could feel free to maybe hard code your standard footer and signature into the bottom there. Okay, so that's just about everything in regards to editing the template itself. Always be careful when you're saving it, because we want to make sure that we save these with that .adt extension. This is probably a pitfall that catches a lot of people when they're trying to work with these mail merges and they're unable to find some of their templates after. Because I'm editing one of ACT's pre-made templates, I'm going to do a save as to save it in a new location. Word does tell me the current folder is in this templates folder. So I'll just go ahead and save that. But you see it's trying to make it save as a .doc. This is a real pain. I found that the best way to do it is to type in your template name. So we'll call this one December 12th, 2017. Word demo .adt. And if you put the .adt in there and hard code it in by typing ADT and put the whole name in quotes, then it will save it as an ADT. If you forget the quotes, then it will actually save it as a .adt.doc, which is no good. And you're not going to find .adt anywhere in this drop-down list, especially because in most cases, Windows will recognize that as an audio format. ADT is a proprietary format by ACT. But enough on that. We save it as a .adt file and save it up. In the future, if I close this out and I ever want to edit or modify that same template again, and I go to edit template, and sure enough, it should be here in my folder. The only reason that I had to go through some of that trickery was because I was doing the save as. If I just wanted to make edits to this template and then save it up, then it normally gets it right, that it will keep the correct file extension there. So now that I've got my template built, I can go ahead and do a write, a document from template, and test it out. A Word demo, it'll merge it up and make sure that everything is good there. And here we go. We've got the company name imported where I intended for it to, the city imported where I intended it to. My information came through on the bottom in the place where that My Record stuff was before. Just perfect. I can save this letter up. I can send it to them as an attachment. There is actually on the add-in tab, after I've done a mail merge, there are some additional features in here where I can attach this right into the documents section of ACT automatically, or I can send this Word document as an attachment right from the send email button, and it will send it right over to him. Now if I save it first, and I can even record this into the ACT history after I save it first, but some of these things I kind of prefer to do them manually, even if it's an extra few clicks, just because you get a bit more fine-tuned control over exactly what it's doing. All right, and so the next step, we're going to move on into how you can send these out in bulk using the mail merge wizard. And so let's say that's good on an individual basis. If I want to look up a single contact and go to write a document from template or a message from template. I suppose, by the way, before I leave this in the past, I'll address these other ones too. There's write a letter. This does the same thing as writing an other document from template, except under my edit template functions, you'll see that there is one of these template files that's just called letter. If I do write an other document from template, then I have my entire collection of all of the templates I've built. If I do that letter button, then it's just going to use only the file that's named letter.adt. You can edit this file, but if you rename it to anything else, then that function breaks. I generally just say use the other document every time. But yes. So that works really well and good for addressing a single contact with their emails and documents. But what if you want to do them in bulk? We have the mail merge wizard here, where you can handle sending to multiple contacts at once. Generally, the best way to do this is by sending to a group. I say that you build a group first, and you can send the mail merge out to that group. You can also do it by a lookup. So if I wanted to send this letter to everybody, I'm just going to say in the state of New York. just as an example. 49 contacts. Can I narrow that down any? Oh, yeah, I know I can. So how about during my last duplicates session, I intentionally imported a bunch of duplicates into the database, and now my demo database is a little cluttered there. Okay, 27 contacts. So let's say I want to send a mail merge out to all of these contacts. Rather than going through and saying write an email message from template 27 separate times to each one of these, I can do the mail merge wizard, where I'll say write a mail merge, and this is going to walk me through step by step. The first step is just a welcome screen. Click next. Select the output. Where do you want it to send this mail merge? We're going to do email in most cases. If I do word processor, then it will just create me a bunch of, well, it'll be one Word document with 27 pages to it, with each contact merged individually, in case this was something you want to send to the printer. I know the finance guys out there are frequently using these letters to send out notices and account updates and things like that to their database, and they do those by hard printing. More commonly, people are sending these to email. So that depends on what you're doing here, but we're going to send this one to email. We'll say next. It will say choose which template you want to send out. So I'll browse, and we have our Word demo. I'll go ahead and choose that one there. Click next. Who do you want to send this contact, or this mail merge? I should say to whom. I'm going to choose current lookup in this case, which is going to be the 27 contacts I'm looking behind this screen. The reason that I said I like groups better, they're very similar when it comes to this, but groups, they don't change on you if you accidentally move screen to screen. Groups are generally the same, so sometimes you can use a group, but I'm going to do this current lookup. You can also do to just one contact, although if you're going to do that, the individual quick sends are better than all of these steps. You can send it to all contacts, which is a big no, and a specific company as well. The subject line for your email, sample template from 12/3. This is going to be your subject line when I send out this email for all of these contacts. They're all going to get the same subject line. You cannot put any mail merge fields in the subject line. I know that is supported with a lot of email marketing platforms. That's not the case here with this ACT mail merge. And then email recording history type. Steve Hunt, I spy you in the chat there. This is something that I think has tripped you up in the past. Under this step, it says email record history type. This is if you want to put a copy of this email into the history for every contact. For a lot of these mail merge, I think it's okay to just do the subject line only, because since you're sending the exact same template to dozens of people, you might not need the entire snapshot of the email at once. But you can do the entire subject and message if you want. Optionally, you can attach a file to the email as well if maybe you want to add on a PDF or something like that to add on as an attachment. And you can also request a return receipt. That's if the sender wants to know that you've read this email. I don't know if you want to do that all the time. So give it a subject line and choose your history. That's the important part of this screen. We're coming up near the end. It's telling us, what do you want to do if a contact does not have an email addresses? We're going to set options for missing email addresses. Most often, I just say omit the records from the email merge. So you'll see in my lookup of 27 contacts, I can already spot 3 of them that don't have emails. I'm going to say just omit them. Just if it doesn't have an email, just skip over it. You do have options for saying skip over it and tell me who, but give me a lookup at the end of who was skipped, or you can try to send it and just write the ACT history is not sent, or you can say cancel the entire thing entirely. If one contact doesn't have an email, shut the whole thing down. But we're going to just say omit and next. Finally, a lot of talking, but we made it to the end of setup complete. So this is going to send out if I say finish. Come over here to my Outlook sent items folder, and if I send this away, ACT is going through and merging all of my letters there, 26 of them, and they are here in my drafts folder. They should be automatically sending out. Processing through here in a second. There you go. Sometimes they take a minute to get triggered, but check out, they're counting away, and away they go into my sent items. And I'm just gonna cancel this out here. I'm getting my phone's buzzing right now that I'm getting a whole lot of bounce backs of invalid emails. All of these contacts in this demo database are bogus. So what we have is a use case as well of when is it appropriate to use these mail merges. If I am sending these out through my Outlook, they are actually being sent out through my mail server. I do not recommend that you really do this for large size email blasts. There's no firm cutoff, but I wouldn't really want to do this kind of method for more than 100 or so contacts. If people don't like the content of your message and they want to mark you as spam, that can reflect badly on your email server and actually get you blacklisted. So when you're sending out these type of mail merges, you better make sure that it's good contacts to customers or people that very much know you and have a low probability of ever marking you as spam. If you're going to try to send something that's a more broad message about some product offerings or a newsletter that you want people to be able to opt out of, it might not be as targeted, or you're afraid of being blacklisted, Active marketing is a better fit for doing something that's a bit more intensive than this. So just be mindful of that. And like I said about no hard limit on how many you can do at once, I have actually sent out mail merges to 600 or 700 contacts at once before, but at some point your main limiter is going to be your computer's memory. You might just crash your PC and your Outlook if you try to overload it. Sometimes you have to send them out in smaller chunks, but I really wouldn't recommend probably doing that many with this. Last couple tips here, because I had a question from Nick, was asking, how can I add a custom hot button to make these templates even easier to add? This is something I'm requested all the time. A easy send welcome letter button, for example, or send you know, a certain type of quote or template that you've built. You can right click on any Act toolbar and say customize here on one of the toolbars on top. And we have to add this as a custom command. So this might seem like a little bit of a sidetrack here, but we're getting there. So we're going to go custom command, and we're going to create a new custom command for our template. And we'll call this one send, or we'll say generate sales document for the command name. This is just going to be your friendly name of how it appears in the toolbar. And it's actually the same thing I do for the tooltip text. I always paste the exact same name here. And then we have to add a command line, which might sound intimidating, but what you do is browse, and we have to go find our template. I happen to know where the template file is. It's looking for a .exe, so it's not seeing anything, but if I change this to all files, here's my Word templates, and I can choose this item here and add it. Now that it's been added to the custom commands, I can come over here to my Commands tab. And if I'm moving too fast, please don't hesitate to find this video on YouTube, and you can watch it at your own pace as well. You can go under Commands. These are all of the commands and utilities in your entire Act database. I'm going to go to Custom Commands, and here's my new one that I've just made. I can click, hold, drag and drop it right up to the top. You're looking for this little black line to appear when you drop it on there. And so there it is. It's just an icon of a paperclip. I'm going to right click that to change some options here where I can change the name, but I'm going to say just show the text. I want it to be a button that says generate sales document. That's a custom command, so I can close it out. And now if I'm ever looking at a specific contact record, I have a one-click button to just go ahead and merge that document if you have some very frequently used Act template that you use. This button will only work for sending the document to Microsoft Word. It will not send an email. That functionality is not supported to have it go to Outlook instead. If I go back into that customize menu, that might have been a lot with the whole custom commands thing. Sorry if I lost anybody there, but you can also just under the commands menu, there is of course the right menu. Like I said, every function within ACT is in here. You could have just the option that says write an other document from template. I can drag that up here as well. So maybe instead of one-click button to do the same document every time, this is a shortcut button to just open the window direct. I suppose that saves you one click from this menu. Maybe that adds up over time. Thank you everybody for attending today. I see there's a couple questions in the chat, so I'll get to those now. Will ACT ever create a drop-down for subject in mail merge so the identity of the mail merge can be the same? Steve, I think you're asking about under the mail merge wizard for the subject line, you're saying like a drop down here so that you can see the past subject lines that you've used, if I'm reading you correctly. That's a good idea for a feature request. If you go to the ACT community, you can find them at community.act.com. It's a forum for all ACT users and ACT consultants alike to go and post questions, and there is a features request board. Your best bet would be maybe to post it there and see what they do. If things get enough support behind them, then they will sometimes get pulled into a later release. ACT will remember the last subject line that you used here, so that's probably the best that you can deal with now. It will keep it the same. If you're sending out many mail merges in a row and you want to make sure that you're using the same subject lines, you might want to just have a separate file, a Word document that you're keeping track of, or a notepad of exactly what you said if you wanted them to be the same. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, I invite everybody in the public to attend live. You'll find the connection instructions in the description below and a way to sign up. I send these out every Tuesday, and I would love to have you join next week. Well, speaking of which, next week on December 26th, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks from now, December 26th, we will be having a day off, but I hope to see you all next week on the 19th. I believe the topic is ACT Activity Series. Thank you all and have a great day. Bye.